Have you ever been pushed so far by someone's arrogance that you decided enough was enough and plotted revenge that no one would ever forget? That's exactly where I found myself the day HOA Karen stole my parking spot. Now, this wasn't just any parking spot. This was my spot, the one directly outside my farmhouse gate, the one I had cleared, maintained, and even shoveled snow from in winter. Everyone in the community knew it belonged to me, except Karen. Or maybe she just didn't care. Karen was the self-proclaimed queen of our neighborhood HOA. She strutted around like she owned every inch of the street. She'd fine people for leaving their trash cans out too long. She'd scream about lawns being 1 inch too tall, and she had no problem calling the cops if a kid dared to ride a bike past her perfectly polished driveway. But the parking spot? That was new territory. I remember pulling up after a long day hauling hay. My back hurt, my hands were raw, and all I wanted was to park, unload, and relax. But there it was, a shiny silver SUV sitting squarely in my space. Karen's car. I slammed my truck door, stormed up, and knocked on her window. She rolled it down just 2 inches, sunglasses still on, and said in the most smug tone imaginable, "Oh, don't make such a fuss. It's just a spot. I'll only be here for a little while. Besides, you've got plenty of land. Why do you care?" That's when I knew this wasn't an accident. This was deliberate. The next day, it happened again. And then again. Every time I came home, Karen's SUV was right there, sitting like a trophy in my space, while she strutted off to gossip with the other HOA members. She smirked whenever she saw me pulling in, like she was daring me to challenge her. But here's the thing. Farmers like me don't forget, and we don't let things slide. One evening, as I hauled another load of hay into the barn, an idea struck me. I looked at those massive bales stacked high, each weighing nearly half a ton, and I thought, what if Karen came back to find her car buried? It wouldn't damage her vehicle. It wouldn't break the law, but it would send a message she could never ignore. The plan formed in my head, and I couldn't stop grinning. Karen had declared war, and I was about to end it in the most humiliating way possible. The night I decided to strike, the farm was quiet. Crickets hummed. The air smelled of fresh-cut hay, and the only light came from the moon spilling across the barn roof. I stood there, leaning against my tractor, staring at the massive bales stacked neatly inside. They looked harmless enough, big blocks of dried grass, but in my mind they had just become weapons. Each hay bale weighed nearly 1,000 pounds. Too heavy to move by hand, but with my tractor's forks? They were as easy as stacking Lego bricks. That was the beauty of it. Karen had no idea that living across from a farmer meant I had all the tools to bury her arrogance without lifting more than a finger. I waited until late the next day. Sure enough, right on schedule, Karen's silver SUV slithered into my spot. She stepped out in her pastel sweater, sunglasses on, coffee in hand, and gave me that condescending smirk like always. "Don't park too close, farmer boy," she sneered, as if the land I owned wasn't mine to begin with. I just smiled and tipped my hat, hiding the storm brewing behind my calm face. Little did she know by sunset, her precious SUV would be trapped tighter than a bug in a jar. As soon as she left, I climbed into the tractor, the engine roaring like a battle drum. Slowly, I rolled forward, carrying the first bale. I lowered it gently against the back of her SUV, close enough to block the rear bumper. One bale, then another. The wall started rising. Then I swung around, stacking more on the sides. The squeak of the tractor forks and the thud of hay hitting the ground became a rhythm, like I was building a fortress. By the time I was halfway done, the SUV looked like it was sitting inside a growing cage. I couldn't stop laughing. Every movement felt like payback, like justice being served one giant block at a time. Finally, I dropped the last bale in place. Her SUV was now completely surrounded. Front, back, both sides, walled in by hay so high she wouldn't be able to open her doors. It wasn't damaged, not even scratched, but it was trapped so thoroughly that only a farmer's tractor could pull it free. I climbed down, dusted off my gloves, and admired my work. It looked ridiculous, like some kind of giant hay sculpture with a car as the centerpiece. The best part? Karen hadn't seen it yet, and when she came back, I was going to enjoy every second of her meltdown. The next morning, I made sure to be outside early, leaning casually against the fence with my coffee in hand. The trap was set, the stage was ready, and I wasn't about to miss the show. Right on time, I heard the click of Karen's heels on the pavement before I even saw her. She strutted down the street, phone in one hand, purse dangling from the other, talking loud enough for everyone in the neighborhood to hear. And I told the HOA board, if people can't follow the rules, then what's the point of even having standards? She bragged, her voice dripping with fake authority. Then she turned the corner and froze. There it was, her shiny silver SUV, swallowed up by hay bales like a mouse caught in a farmer's prank. The walls of dried grass towered over her car, stacked tight and high, making her vehicle look like some kind of bizarre farm art installation. The sound that came out of her was priceless. What is this? She screeched, dropping her phone onto the sidewalk. She ran up to the car, tugging at the handles. Nothing. The doors wouldn't open because the hay pressed against them. She yanked harder, then turned in circles, flailing her arms like a windmill gone mad. I sipped my coffee and called over. Problem, Karen? Her head snapped toward me, face red as a tomato. Did you do this? I shrugged innocently. Do what? Hay just kind of has a way of piling up around here. That sent her into a frenzy. She stomped up to the nearest bale, clawing at it with her perfectly manicured nails. Pieces of hay stuck to her sweater as she tried to dig through. But the bales were too heavy, too solid. All she managed to do was ruin her nails and get covered in dust. This is harassment, she shouted. I'll have you arrested. I'll sue you. But the more she yelled, the more neighbors began to peek out from their porches. One by one, people came out, whispering, chuckling, even snapping pictures on their phones. Karen, the HOA queen, the woman who had tormented everyone with her endless rules, was now the laughingstock of the block. Her rage only made it funnier. She stomped, she kicked, she threatened lawsuits, but the hay bales didn't move an inch. Her SUV was locked in a fluffy fortress, and the more she struggled, the more ridiculous she looked. I stood there, hiding my grin behind the coffee mug, enjoying every second of poetic justice. But what happened next? Oh, that was the real cherry on top. Karen was pacing like a caged animal. Her hair was frizzed from yanking at the hay, her sweater covered in dust, and her voice hoarse from all the screaming. Finally, in full meltdown mode, she pulled out her phone and dialed. Hello? Yes, this is Karen from the HOA. My car it's trapped! Some lunatic farmer has surrounded it with giant grass bricks. Get here now! I nearly spit out my coffee trying not to laugh. 15 minutes later, a police cruiser rolled down the street. 2 officers stepped out, trying hard to keep straight faces the moment they saw the ridiculous sight. Karen's SUV buried in hay like some kind of farmyard prank gone wrong. She ran to them shrieking, "Arrest him! He did this to me! This is criminal damage!" The officers exchanged a glance, then walked over to inspect the car. They touched the bales, pushed a few, then turned back to her. "Ma'am," one of them said, "this is hay." "Yes, hay," Karen screamed. "And it's illegal." The second officer raised an eyebrow. "Well, actually, ma'am, there's no damage to your car. It looks like it's just parked in. If anything, this is more of a parking dispute." And frankly, he turned toward me with a smirk. "We're not here to enforce HOA squabbles." Karen's jaw dropped. "So you're not going to do anything?" The officer shrugged. "Best advice? Don't park in other people's spots. Saves everyone the trouble." That was it. Karen's reign of terror crumbled in front of the entire neighborhood. She stood there sputtering, red-faced, while half the block laughed openly. Cameras were out, people whispering, some even clapping. Defeated, Karen threw her hands in the air and stormed off. She didn't say a word to me, didn't even look at me again. And you better believe she never parked in my spot after that day. In fact, rumor has it she avoided driving past my house altogether, probably out of sheer humiliation. As for me, I went back to my tractor, humming to myself as I cleared the hay away at my own pace. The job was simple, nothing broken, nothing illegal. Just one unforgettable reminder that farmers know how to handle their business. And every time I see a hay bale now, I can't help but grin. Because while Karen thought she was untouchable, she learned the hard way that you don't mess with a man who's got an endless supply of hay and plenty of patience for payback. Justice didn't come in the courtroom. It came in hay bales. If you enjoyed watching Karen lose it, don't forget to hit that subscribe, smash the like, and drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think.